Hey guys, Zane from the Infinite Jukebox here with another quick album review, and today I wanted to talk about the new Godflesh record, Purge. Godflesh is arguably one of the few names in metal history that most likely needs absolutely no introduction to anybody who's been aware of metal in general for at least a few weeks. Whether you want to or not, whether you're interested in industrial metal or not, you've probably been introduced to Godflesh in one form or another at some point, if you are even remotely interested in metal. They're that much of a beloved band in the scene. The impact that the group have had on the history of industrial metal is perhaps only really comparable to Ministry among every other industrial metal band in the history of the subgenre, and the release of 1989 Street Cleaner, their first full-length studio album, saw a level of heaviness and apocalyptic sounds that were really unheard of in metal at the time. And while there are moments on that record that arguably have not aged the most beautifully, it still stands as a majorly essential record in the history of metal as we know it. And generally speaking, in the time that has passed since they really first kicked down the door of industrial metal, they've really become pretty much the most consistent band of their kind. I think there really is a legitimate case to say that Godflesh are the single most consistent industrial metal act to ever grace this earth. In most other cases, I think that there's battles between different artists for that title in their own particular subgenre, metal or otherwise, but industrial metal, no. I just really think that Godflesh get that title straight off the bat. I mean, as far as industrial goes, in the context of metal at least, we live in a timeline that has gotten records like Fear Factory, a great band, Awful Record, Transgression, Strapping Young Lad, another great band, and their terrible record, Heavy as a Really Heavy Thing. Several bad Ministry records within the past few years. The list really just goes on. There are a number of amazing industrial metal bands out there, but not very many that have been consistent over the years. And then you have Godflesh, who have been in the double digits of albums now for some time, and still have never done anything less than good. Purge is just another example of Godflesh just staking their territory again in 2023, just ensuring that everybody knows that they are still one of the few bands in metal history to never once dip below their own set bar of standards. I mean, really, it's kind of impressive. You would expect any older band of any genre to maybe fall a little bit in quality over the years, even if they still were solid or even pretty good. But the duo of Justin Broderick and Ben Green never once even slightly falter on Purge. It's incredibly impressive stuff, especially if you're familiarized with their back catalog. Broderick's role as guitarist and frontman, as well as machine programmer, notably drum machines, of course, is absolutely essential and defines everything that Godflesh is all about as a project, creating music that is mechanical and meticulously put together, but nonetheless devastating. And ultimately, because of Broderick, this record sounds like most other Godflesh records, which is the sonic equivalent of a steel factory getting doused in napalm. Ben Green's work as bassist, however, is, perhaps to the surprise of some who know of the lack of bass in many great metal bands, completely essential to creating the entire sound and sonic aesthetic that Godflesh work with. I mean, the apocalyptic, doom-like qualities of songs like Lazarus Leper would be practically non-existent without the low-end instrumentation that is delivered from Green's half of the duo. Godflesh have been pretty consistently cited by both their fans and many publications as one of the most apocalyptic sounding bands to ever grace metal, and you know what? That conclusion's pretty fair. I will say that if you are new to Godflesh and have never really heard anything by them in general, then I wouldn't say that this is really a good starting point. If you want to go for the classic, then definitely listen to the aforementioned 1989 album Street Cleaner, but if you want to go with the Zayn recommended album, then 1996's Songs of Love and Hate is my personal favorite by them. You really can't go wrong with anything they've done in the past, but that being said, Purge isn't really the great starting point for them or anything like that, even if you do really like industrial metal. But if you are familiarized with the band or just familiarized with the genre, this is a fantastic release that you'll probably really enjoy. Purge may not be reinventing the metallic wheel by any means, but nonetheless, it does deliver on the massive, earth-shaking sounds that really made Godflesh industrial metal mainstays in the first place. It's what they've always done, and what they've always done is be great, and that's exactly what this is. I'm going to give this record 3.5 stars out of 5. And with that being said, that is the end of this quick album review. I've been Zane from the Infinite Jukebox. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.